Welcome, beautiful listeners, to another podcast, another YouTube episode of Empowering Conversations, where we discuss beautiful topics and techniques to help empower you to live your best and most empowered life. Today I'm here with Alexander. Yeah.
Let's go.
So I'd love for you to give like a real quick little introduction to who you are and what inspired you to be sitting here in this beautiful town.
I will definitely share that. I'll keep it brief. It's a great question. So my name is Alexander and I come from Canada originally, and I just decided with my partner, hey, the lifestyle we lead, it's best to be in an environment like this with sun all year, tropical fruit, and yeah, just based on dietary, spiritual reasons, this seems to be the greatest location, a lot of conscious people. And my focus in my life right now is to help people with their health, help people with their healing, getting better from chronic health conditions. So I am a holistic health practitioner, and I look at all areas of an individual's health. And yeah, I'll keep it simple. We'll get into that. And yeah, when I look at who I am, this avatar, this character, Alexander, it's just who I am in this nowadays. But beyond this, it's just consciousness, awareness, experiencing itself through this life. And it's we're a blessing to sit here with you, Elijah, and take this opportunity.
Likewise. So what would you say was a moment that kind of defined that shift? Was there a moment you would consider yourself unhealthy and now you're
Absolutely.
Maybe just share that beautiful story first.
Yeah, man. It's really interesting to reflect on when we're in that moment in time and we don't realize something. But I grew up in a very fortunate experience where my mom would always make home cooked meals for me. My parents came from Eastern Europe. They immigrated to Canada, and they knew what real food was, right? They fed me lots of good quality home cooked foods, fresh fruits and veggies. And still being in Western culture, processed food slipped in. I'd still have those types of Doritos, Mars bars, just crappy processed foods, honestly. And I got to a point when I was 16 years old where I noticed my health was kind of not where it should be. I noticed my peers around me, seems like they're all right. And I'm like, why am I experiencing so many symptoms? And I didn't understand. So of course, you go to doctors, I went to dermatologists for my skin, all types of different specialists. And at one point I even went to some of the top neurologists because I was experiencing neurological issues. And no matter what scans I did, blood tests, there was no solution. There was no roadmap for me to get better. It was just treatment and assumptions. So, I felt disempowered. I felt very disempowered. I felt disconnected from hope and felt depressed, anxious, confused, all sorts of stuff at that age, right? You don't have necessarily the guidance from people around you, the school system. And back then it was very different. I know in schools nowadays they're doing like meditation and breath work. And I'm like, not in public school in Toronto back in, So when I noticed I was dealing with these health problems, I got to a point where I just realized something needed to change, and I just did some digging, I did some research. I think I was on a spiritual awakening since I was maybe 16, 17. And yeah, and I can go into that as well and how that influenced it. Because, I think many people see health as like this idea of, you're muscular, you go to the gym. But what if you don't have the energy to go to the gym? What if you don't have the endocrine gland strength to go to the gym and actually build muscle? So I think, for some people, they can just change their diet, go to the gym, and they get healthy. But for me, I think I was quite injured from, I would personally say vaccine injuries. I would say processed food. And I would say just generally, I didn't feel like my body was as strong as other people. When I look at our parents growing up, they get exposed to different things. I think our parents have healthier genetics and constitutions. And so, each individual faces the weaknesses that are passed down from their parents. And as much as I believe that everything can heal, and that's the empowerment behind this, because, this body is a miraculous gift. And of course, we've got to work with our mind a lot alongside that. So yeah, I'll keep it at that. There's a lot of context behind it.
Yeah,
what I realized at one point.
Yeah.
Right?
What I'm hearing in there is some key pieces that might help you. If you're watching this and you're like, yes, I want to do, you know, fitness things. I want to go out or eat healthier or whatever it is. But you're not even inspired to start doing that.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of key piece I'm hearing from you there, is like the first is feeling this inspiration and this hope, and it's creating that.
Yeah.
And then from that, you can take the action. You can start, you know,
it creates a ripple effect.
Exactly, it starts a ripple effect.
You nailed it there, brother. You nailed it.
Yeah, I just wanted to accentuate what you actually nailed to begin with.
I love it, man. Yeah, because we have to find our why, right? If there's no why behind what we do, nothing's going to incentivize us to go in that direction. So in a way, the pain, the negative health, the whatever experience, bad relationships, bad finances, it all incentivizes us to change our way, to go in a direction of the opposite spiral, upward. Because otherwise we end up being disempowered, we end up victimizing ourselves, becoming depressed, scared, worried about everything. So we have a choice in that moment, and it's a difficult choice. It's a difficult choice, but it's well worth it when you stick to it.
What do you think helped you make that choice? Obviously, it's sort of like all these different things piling up onto that list, but
yeah, absolutely. You know, when I thought about all those health problems, of course, you know, you don't feel like you can operate normally when you're with friends, when you're with family. You don't feel like your best self. And then when I look back, I'm like, I didn't experience this. So I had some reference point. When you have a reference point of how you were experiencing life and how you felt, and then you go through a period where you don't, you're like, okay, this is obviously not my normal state or my most optimal state. And from there, you know, when I was in my, you know, early, we could say adolescence, let's say I was 17, and I was obviously getting involved with mushrooms at the time. And of course, back then it was like recreational, and everybody's like, oh, it makes your brain bleed, and you know, all this type of stories that, you know, there's a lot of fear back then. It was seen as a drug, but I think I initially knew there was something deeper to life in my soul, and yet I was still kind of piecing it together. I think I started off with some conspiracies when I was 16 or 15. My sister told me about the Freemasons and the Illuminati, and I was like, oh my God, you know, back then it's crazy. But, you know, as you grow and as you see, there's nothing to fear in this world. There's no separation, is an illusion. But at that stage, at 17, I saw mushrooms, and I came to a place where I saw the sky and it was actually pixelated. And I also noticed that I felt unity consciousness amongst my brothers. And that, of course, at that time, I didn't know what any of this stuff was. Empathy for animals, empathy for my fellow beings. And I think we get programmed and disconnected to be in that state because we don't want to be seen as weak or corny, because nobody around you doing that. People care about Jordans, the material stuff, you know, looking cool. It's not about love and compassion and empathy at that age. You're trying to fit in. So I think mushrooms really just gave me that spark to be like, oh my gosh, what did I just experience? And life was never the same after that. I think that led me to do meditations, yoga down the line, because I don't think I would have got out of it in a material world like Toronto. When I grew up in Toronto, back then it was all just hyper materialistic society.
So you would say your environment helped?
Environment helped, absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful.
Environment's everything. Environment's everything. As much as we can cultivate our own inner environment, of course, right now, if we were in a city and there was traffic and honking, and you know, it impacts us.
For sure. I like to say it's a feedback loop. The environment feeds us, and we feed the environment, and it goes around and around. You can change the environment, and you can change yourself.
Absolutely.
And you can change yourself and also change the environment. And you can change the environment and also change yourself.
Absolutely.
But if you do both, it's like speed up.
It is speed up, right? Because both things make your external, internal worlds. They're a dance with one another. And your intention.
100%.
Your intention.
So what would you say to you is personal empowerment?
That's a great question. So personal empowerment to me it comes back to the foundation, you know, of loving the self first. And not out of the ego, not out of the superiority of I'm better than, or this narcissistic kind of approach. It's just, I accept myself. I approve of myself. I love myself. I'm okay in my body. I'm okay with who I am. And I think a lot of people skip that step or don't actually develop that. And I'd gone through this whole spiritual journey, but didn't realize how much that was the foundation, the root. And I'd say that's the first step of empowerment, is being okay with yourself, being honest with yourself, doing shadow work, knowing yourself deeply at a core level, whether it's in your subconscious mind or in the soul, where your intentions are, and cultivating that sense of inner peace. That is the most pure empowerment. And leading from the heart, all right, leading from the heart, because the heart is magnetic. It sees others as equal to you. It comes with a pure intention. And if you can live from those two spaces, you're already leveled up. And then, you know, there's other practices that come along with that for empowerment, right? We can empower ourselves. We go to the gym. The gym's actually right behind us. We can, you know, do some yoga practice. We can spend time with good quality, you know, souls. We can do our meditation practice. All these things are important, absolutely. Anything to do with inner work. Spend time in nature, get the mind quiet, be in silence. And I think silence is one of the purest ways to access self. Fasting as well, right? Water fasting. Things that don't suppress and cover up through food, through drugs, through any behaviors or patterns or addictions that we have.
Like what I'm hearing in there is connecting to your knowing of what is good for you.
Absolutely, connecting to your knowing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, let's say I feel like I want to do yoga right now, but, you know, what feels good to you, what feels empowering for you is going on a walk in the jungle, or connecting with your mother, or, you know, a good quality friend, or, you know, going to the gym. So for everybody at each moment in time, it's unique.
Exactly.
It's different. If I'm going to be here and generalize, be like, you just need to do yoga and all your worries will go away. No, it might amplify your life, absolutely. But we've got to really be connected with ourselves and see what's serving us. Get connected, get into somatic work. Somatic is the body. And that is the best way. I think society and culture teaches us to be disconnected from our bodies. Things are getting better in the world. I see that there's a lot of positives happening in terms of the collective picking up on somatic work, breath work, things like that help us get connected to these simple truths.
I want to do something a little bit interesting here. I want to ask this question to you, people watching this. If I tell you you're not doing enough right now, now notice that in your body. Notice if there was a reaction there. Notice if you went, who cares? I don't need to listen to him. Or notice if you went, ooh, and you became activated, triggered, brought up some emotion to work on. That's like the core essence of what I'm hearing you say, is like working on that inner world and connecting into those reactions, those emotions, those inner experiences to learn and love.
Absolutely. Everyone's our teacher, right? Anything that can get mirrored back to us, we can be a victim to. Be like, oh, that person is, you know.
Why did he say that on that YouTube video? That's like, what a rough guy.
What a rough guy. What you know, I think it's just that, you know, I've heard so much stuff said to me, whether, you know, I'm useless, whatever, I don't do enough. And in moments, I'd be like, wow, I guess I am worthless. But still, even allowing yourself to go through that process at times is how you get to the other side. It's about working through the uncomfortable shadows of ourselves. Why is it uncomfortable? Why do we feel worthless? Why do I feel ashamed of myself? Why do I feel, because whatever that person's saying, they could say the worst things to you, but if you feel neutral about it, if you don't feel like it has anything to do with you, then you know you're good. You know you're good. The biggest thing is reflecting on self. Where are you getting triggered? Where are emotions getting involved? Where do you feel like something that someone says to you, you're taking on and you're believing that to be true about yourself?
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. So beautiful question now for you is, if someone's listening right now, they feel stuck, disconnected from themselves, what's the first small action or mindset shift you'd tell them to make today?
I love that. Silence. Close your eyes. Come back into connection without distractions, without the TV, the social media, cooking, anything. Come back into yourself. Close your eyes. Breathe. Breathe into yourself. Breathe into your being. Whether that takes 30 minutes, 1 hour. And drop into what is there. Ask yourself questions. Inquire with yourself. Remember, you are the universe. Everything is you flipped out. Okay? Everything's a mirror in this world. So by that reflection, your mind is magnetic. Remembering that you are magnetic, your thoughts. It's like a quantum supercomputer. So whatever you're thinking and feeling is being attracted to you or repelled. So just for a second, take in the immense power that you hold. And that can be difficult when we're in our stories, when we're in our beliefs. I'm not enough, I'm worthless, all sorts of things. I'm a victim to my life. My life's going so terrible. Whatever we say to ourselves, start speaking to yourself with kindness. Start speaking to yourself as if things are going better for you. That everything in my life is working out in my favor, even though it might not look like that circumstantially. It's really speaking to yourself as you want to be experiencing your life. And really, silence is a great avenue to access that.
Beautiful answer. Thank you. And how can we as a collective support each other in rising without comparison or competition?
That is beautiful, man. Because that is something I actually personally struggled with, is so much of comparison, right? That person has, more success than me. That person has whatever, more leads than me, more followers, more money, more better relationships, whatever the comparison is. We've all done it. We've all done it in our own different ways. For the collective, it's realizing that there is no competition. The only competition is who you were yesterday and how you've evolved from that today. And what we see in others could be, I think our mindset has to shift. Like, that person is more of an inspiration to me and what I can achieve and experience versus that person's doing better than me. Screw them. Or I feel worthless now, or I feel like there's no point to try because they've already done it. And so our mind plays a big role in how we speak to ourselves, how we perceive that situation. So really just seeing it as, and I think I got this piece from this book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, where it's like, let's say you see someone succeeding, whether it's monetarily, in relationships, in their business, in their health. You wish for them greater success, greater health, greater wealth, greater relationships, because it's what you're wishing for them, what you're casting out and expanding in them, you're giving to yourself. And when we take that away from others, or we choose to say that about others, we're taking it away from ourselves. Envy, right? Envy is not our friend.
Yeah, I agree.
For the collective, I think it's this, right? It's seeing you doing this podcast and be like, man, like, it's amazing that you have the focus, that you have the discipline, that you have the ability to orchestrate this and create something like this and create the structure for this. But then I could have the mentality, wow, his podcast is doing better than the one I haven't started yet. Damn him. Like, what? And so many people, we can have that attitude, and especially with social media, I think that amplifies it, because you see the highlight reel of people's lives. You don't see what they're dealing with. You don't see what's behind the scenes. So just know, back to the 4 agreements. Don't make assumptions. You just don't know. Focus on your own lane. Focus on what you're doing, but take inspiration from others. Keep that mindset that everything's working out for you, and take inspired action when it calls to you. Right?
Yeah, and shout out to that book as well, by the way. That's The 4 Agreements.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a read.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I want to touch on some little pieces in there, which is like, for me, it's primal.
Yeah.
There's a primal aspect of self, which has come from traditions, from literally life, where you're primed, you're programmed to compete.
Yeah.
It's like, even you look at like nature,
they
reach for the sunlight.
Yeah.
They all reach and in a way compete,
Yeah.
even though they're all working together, they're all connected.
Yeah.
They still compete for the sunlight.
Yeah.
And just like in tribes, when we were young, we grew up and the men would hunt.
Yeah.
And the man with the most like meat that hunted the most and had the biggest house would get the best woman, or the like, you know, or become the chief and had the most power in a way. And the most connection to, in a way you could say, like the power of the light, the sun, the divinity. And so it's like, it's literally programmed in us to want to compete.
Absolutely, it's programmed into us. It is.
And so that's the key piece. Programmed. And it's noticing for me is like, it's part of that primal brain. So I know there's another aspect of me which then overwrites that and goes, as you say, like more perspective, and be like, well, they're not me. I'm my own unique being. They have a completely different story. My story is my story. Your story is your story. And no one is you. Like, you are a extremely unique human being. There's literally no one who is like you. Whatever you're doing right now is super, super, super unique. You look at this minute little details. But yet we are all connected.
We are all connected. Everything is connected. And I like this piece that you talked about on the primal side of things, because our primal side, and I look at it like the lower and higher self, right? Our lower chakras, our lower nature is animalistic. It is territorial. It is egoic. It is focused on survival, on food, on sex, on the reproduction, on all these things that are our lower nature, which is the animal side of the human body. You know, my philosophy or perspective is that the human body is a hybrid body. It's been genetically changed to have both animalistic and angelic. You know, it contains the higher realms where you can access meditation, you can go into connection with God or creator, source, and you can experience telepathy and psychic abilities, but then you can also be like fighting over a piece of fruit. I don't know, you know, people, you know, we have both sides to us, and I think we have to realize our lower nature is programmed into us. It's not like some devil, but I think we have that duality. You know, we have. I would say we both have Satan and God inside of us. We have we have the envy, we have the greed, we have the lust, we have the hate, and we have the love. We have the compassion, we have the empathy, we have the respect, and it's those two sides of us that we need to alchemize and realize they're both part of us in this duality. So.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful way to look at it. And I like to say we're the bridge. We are the bridge between heaven and earth. And with every breath we breathe in
every breath.
more and more of heaven and earth.
As the wind is coming in, giving us the freshest prana.
It's actually really beautiful. Just before this started, we were doing a little meditation. We were breathing in the earth up and the heaven down. And I think that's something really beautiful to acknowledge as well. It's like to accept the lower part of self, which is so beautiful. It's like, accept my jealousy, accept my judgment, accept these lower aspects of self, the part that wants to compete, the whatever it is. And just love and accept the full spectrum of self.
Exact acceptance of self in those areas, rather than denial and judgment and separation. Like, oh no, those are scary. They're the bad part of me. I have to reject them. And then you got the devil and angel on your shoulder, and you keep fighting yourself. You're at war with yourself. Integrate that. Realize everybody, no one is immune. Even the people you look up to the most or look down to the most, they are all dealing with the same thing. Some have mastered it more than others, and some are struggling more than others. And realizing it is that, like you see the yin yang, like that tattoo, right? Alchemizing both sides, and realize that is where non-dual reality comes in, and that's for the advanced stages.
Or the beginners.
Or the beginners. Maybe the beginners can tap into that. Who's to say?
Yeah.
You're absolute.
Yeah, no, beautiful. Yeah, I think that was something that the collective really needs to hear at the moment.
Yeah.
The reminder. And this is what we fight, what we resist, persists.
What we resist persists.
And so, you know, we have to love, like, really, and that's like, it's so, or has been, I don't want to speak spells into you, but in my experience, it's been so difficult sometimes to truly love something. Like, you think you loved it, And then it's like it happens again, and you're like, oh, I didn't love you, did I?
Yeah.
There's still that aspect of like compression, and that's the basics of shadow work, which is these lower aspects of self, these parts of self that you might despise, that the heavenly part of yourself might despise, compresses these, lustful aspect, whatever parts of self down, and doesn't love and accept them. And then they can burst out and basically take control. Rather than you just loving them and then choosing to be the more kind, the more loving, the more heavenly,
Absolutely, right? It's like you have weeds in the ground and you keep trying to, pull the top out and the roots just keep growing. And it's like, you got to nurture the parts of yourself, the totality of self. And then we came back to that conversation on knowing thyself. There's no better work you can do than knowing thyself. I've been doing this for over a decade, self-reflection, you will learn something continually about yourself as you progress through life. Different people will come and mirror different parts of yourself. Ultimately, the whole journey is, in my perception, to come back into union with the Creator, with the One. Because everything is that, everything. There's nothing separate from it. But we've separated ourselves in these aspects of our consciousness and gone through many lifetimes of programming. And now it's kind of, I think this lifetime in particular, and I've seen people over the past, especially past few years and even 5 years, really doing that work on themselves. And it's become much more mainstream, like, especially in Tulum,
For sure. Yeah, it's something that I may have gone into a bit on here, but I'll go into it on another time, which is my whole experience of re-entering oneness and connecting and then actually wanting to come back and play. And so
absolutely,
just be here to play with all you guys. Such a beautiful experience. So let's wrap this up a little bit. Is what's the truth about life or empowerment that you've come to know deeply and one you'd want everyone to remember after this conversation?
Ooh. When I first tried to connect to this truth, my intention was I just desire to know the infinite truth. And that comes to me as you're living in a dream. This is your dream. You're dreaming this whole thing up. And like you could lucid dream, you can create your dream to be what you want, right? It reacts like a video game, like a computer simulation, but it's a quantum supercomputer. But it's organic. It's connected to consciousness. And that in that essence of that, knowing that this is a simulated reality, and I've seen that with my own 3 eyes, that it's all coded, whether it's the trees, the body, the rocks, all of it. There's some underlying spirit, soul, source that has instilled and infused itself within you, that you are always a part of, that this eternal essence, that you are an infinite being experiencing itself. And just knowing that you're part of all things and that you are an aspect of the One, or whatever you want to call it, God, universe, source, creator, that is you. Not that you are the One, but you are an aspect of that. And so you're never separate. There's no fear. There's no worry that whatever might come in around the economy, the governments, the whatever is being pumped out in the political sphere, all the things that create division and separation and worry. You are everything that ever was. And everything's you. So in that essence, you create your world through your thoughts, through your beliefs, through your subconscious mind, through your intentions, through what you visualize and imagine. And just knowing the power of the mind, knowing the power of the self, and all the work you do within self, all the connections you build, it all unfolds in a divine way. And there's going to be challenges. And just realizing, it's not going to be this perfect spiritual fairy journey that now you're immune to all of it because you realize this. I could call it the Matrix. This whole thing is the Matrix. The Matrix will test you. It'll test your experience.
Just really quickly on that is I say that a lot too, and I've started questioning it. I'm like, why do I say that? Why can't it just be easy? Why can't it flow?
I totally hear you. And it can be that. And that belief too works.
Yeah.
And if we believe it's difficult for us, we pick that up from a certain point in our life, and we've chosen to believe that story. And it's not that it has to be difficult. It's that some people, myself at times included, create the difficulty. We create our own difficulties, and then it shows up in our world. And then how do we respond to that difficulty that's presenting itself? If we react to it emotionally and get complaining and annoyed, it will keep perpetuating and continue until we stop reacting to it. And then that's how that mastery develops. I think it's through realizing those challenges and difficulties are being self-created most of the time.
Of course.
And then how do we react and respond to that? And what do we believe it to be?
I guess because we want those difficulties for lessons or for some reason.
Yeah.
Like we place them in our experience. Like I wouldn't have understood the depths of happiness without understanding the depths of pain.
Yeah.
It's in the Kabbalah, is that it's like everything's spectrum.
Yeah.
And the more that you experience one experience on the spectrum, the more that you can understand the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
so many people, let's say they haven't been through a little bit of finances, or their health hasn't suffered. How do you conceptualize, or how do you even connect to what real good health and vitality means? How do you even conceptualize what abundance is or prosperity if that's all you've known? So I think it's just that we come here to experience the dualistic nature of life. And duality, as much love is there, there's pain associated. Love and hate, good and bad, right and wrong, light and dark. And it's just that, it's all part of this construct. And this construct is beautiful. Like, you could see it as a curse, you could see it as a prison planet, you could see it as heavenly realm. Whatever you can perceive it to be, it will reflect that back to you, right? Whether you fear that, like we were talking about, they're coming after you. They could be coming after you, and there'll be black helicopters, and it's, it'd be scary, it'd be fear-based. Or you could be like, miracles are abound in my life, and all things line up like dominoes, and you're like, wow, like that's not even, how is that even possible? Only by divine hand could that weave itself in. So I think
beautiful. Yeah, I feel that too. It's final message for you that I'm hearing from this beautiful conversation is power in you, and the reminder of perception, perspective, choice, and creation in every moment. What do you watch next? What do you tune into next? What action do you take next? What creation do you want to birth into this world in the next moment? With every breath, with every heartbeat, with every thought. Thank you so much.
Deeply appreciate you, Elijah.
It's been an honor.
It truly has. And thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
And reflect on some of those questions that he left. Boom.
Back to you. Adios.